Hi friends, David here from Learn Stage Lighting, and in this video let's roll up our sleeves because I want to tackle the concept, I want to talk about and demystify ONYX licensing. So for those of you that have watched the channel before, or maybe not, you guys know that ONYX is really my choice for a professional grade lighting console for a lot of people. It's got a lot of positives going for it, the price points are really awesome. But it can be confusing sometimes to people what you need to buy in order to get what you need to do, depending on your needs, especially in a PC. And so that's exactly what I want to talk about in this video, because we get questions about this every day. And if you're buying an ONYX license, I certainly don't want you to get more than you need. I want you to get exactly what you need. And that's what we're all about here at Learn Stage Lighting and Learn Stage Lighting Gear, which is where we're at. So they've got the ONYX line and the Netron line. Okay, that's the first thing from Obsidian Control Systems. Okay, and we can get you any of this stuff if you're looking for it. It used to be, and this has gotten a little more confusing, that the Netron line, these are nodes and DMX splitters and things like this, they would not unlock any output in ONYX. That's now changed. So let's go over to the licensing page first of all in the ONYX manual.
All right, and I'm gonna interject here super quick. This week, of course, all things, it's just hilarious, right? You make a video, you explain something to people, right? And then ONYX put out, they had a trade show, Pro Light and Sound, this week, literally the week that this video is scheduled to go live. And they introduced some new consoles. So, in the first segments of this video, you're not going to see the NX1, NXP, and NXK. But this guide will still serve you for the future, and we're going to interject throughout the video and include these new consoles and tell you how they affect your licensing.
Okay, so on the licensing page, we can see here that the consoles, NX2, 4, and Wing, as well as an NX2 and USB mode, are 64 universe consoles with 4 DMX physical ports on them. Okay, if you need more universes, you can add any ArtNet or SACN node. A lot of times the Netron ones are the most cost effective. They're really good. Okay, then on the PC side, there's a couple different modes. There is Premier, there is Elite, which is not shown here. There is Nova, Nova Plus, and Essential, and Free. Oh, Elite is here, sorry. Okay, so let's start about this. If you download the ONYX software, you plug in no hardware at all, okay? You are on a free license. That means you get one universe of output, which is awesome for testing and whatnot. But you don't get, this is the biggest key, you don't get MIDI, timecode, or OSC. Control of playbacks, I believe. There's actually a page on PC modes as well here. We'll just double check that. Okay. Yeah. ONYX playbacks, yeah. MIDI and timecode protocols. Yep. The cool thing about it, though, they did enable this, is you can start a little timer, you hit a button, and you get 5 minutes of MIDI and timecode and OSC. So if you are on a PC, you need to test something for a customer, for an upcoming event, whatever, you need that timecode, that MIDI, whatever, you can enable it for 5 minutes, and you can re-enable that 5-minute time by restarting the software. Okay, so that's free, no hardware connected. Okay, next we have Nova. Nova is for, it gives you 4 universes of output. Okay, you can always patch and program, this is important, all 128 universes. They're just, the outputs are locked, they don't output. Okay, in Nova you get 2 Dylos zones, you get universe 1 through 4. Okay, but again, you don't get OSC, MIDI, and timecode. You can enable it for those 4 minutes. Okay, and so basically what this is this is kind of an intermediate level. Okay, this is going to be on the hardware side, the Netron link, EP2, EP4, EN4, any of these Netron nodes, the actual nodes that are ArtNet to DMX nodes. And this is going to be the NX DMX as well. Okay, and so this is kind of an intermediate level. it unlocks a little more output, but you still don't get those external control options. You don't get that MIDI, you don't get that OSC that a lot of people are looking for. Okay, so the next step then, so I don't usually recommend the NX DMX unless you just really want the least expensive thing, because it doesn't unlock that time code in the latest versions of ONYX or the MIDI or anything like that. And you're going to need that MIDI or OSC or time code if you're triggering from an external program like with ProPresenter or QLab or anything like that. Okay, so next we have Nova Plus. Nova Plus is where things get interesting. Okay, so Nova Plus is the NX Touch. Okay, 4 universes of output, but you do get that MIDI, timecode, and OSC. Okay, all right. For the same price as Nova Plus, then you start to get into the ONYX keys. Okay, once you hit the ONYX keys, first you have Essential. Okay, Essential on the PC gives you 8 universes. It will say Live 8 at the corner of your software. You get 2 dialos zones, so that hasn't changed. And you get the OSC, MIDI, and timecode fully unlocked. Okay. Then we have Premier and Elite. Again, PC modes, Premier and Elite are 64 universes Premier, 128 universes unlocked Elite. It used to be, and they've changed this recently, thankfully, that the Elite was actually an upgrade. So you bought the Premier key and you upgraded to Elite. I'm so glad they did change that, just because it was confusing to people. A lot of people would be like, why was Elite less cost than Premier? Because it was literally $1,000. And so now it's just a different key, and that's a little simpler for people. So again, PC, these are PC modes, etc. These are the current prices at the time of the video, but that may change in the future, and we can always get you a quote at Learn Stage Lighting Gear. Okay, so those are the PC modes. Okay, if you are on a console, okay, just to demystify your buyer's guide, if you're on a Wing, an NX2, or an NX4, all the stuff is unlocked, and you get 64 universes. Okay, you can. I don't believe you can upgrade those to 128 simply because of processing power. Okay, with a Wing, in theory, yeah, you should be able to plug in a Elite key to get those 128 universes without a problem.
And then lastly, I want to jump in once again, go over the NX1, NXP, and NXK. So these are brand new at the time of this recording, but they're just a killer deal when it comes to cost for performance. So the biggest thing you're going to see with these guys is, as we noted in the licensing, if you take an NXP, please load, NXK, one of those two, and you hook it up to a PC, that's a Nova Plus license for universes plus timecode MIDI OSC triggering. Okay, the NXP has motorized faders. This is killer for the price. The NXK has 4 encoders on it, little tiny inexpensive encoders there, and the full programming keypad. Okay. Meanwhile, the NX1 has 10 motorized faders, screen, built-in processing, 4 mid-size encoders, as I call them. They're smaller than the regular consoles, but bigger than the ones on the NXK, and an essential license. However, my assumption, and in the future we'll figure this out, is that you'd be able to plug this into a PC, or you can definitely network it with a PC, and then the PC's license could be outputting the DMX. So you could still use this hardware with a PC, networked, have the NX1 control surface, but then have more universes of output. You can have that Premiere, you can have that Elite license. Okay, and so that's what you've got there. So what's the deal with the NX1? P and K. Well, the first thing I think we can see in the pictures here, which is so totally stinking awesome, and this is, by the way, an Airbnb, so the internet's not the fastest, is, we can't see it in the picture here, but that's okay, is on the side we have these little tabs, and they're on both sides of the NX1, NXP, and NXK. This is really cool because it makes them like fully modular. So these little tabs are magnetic and allow you to stack them together in any way you want. So you could be left-handed like me. Hey, left-handers unite. Put your programming section on the left. mind blown. Okay, you could put all three together, so you could do an NX1 like they show in promo photos, and then on this side put the playback, both motorized faders, and then put the NXK on the other side. And if I remember correct from my pricing, the NX1 is actually about the same cost as an NX Wing. I think it's just a little bit more. Now you get less output, less license, but if you don't need that more output and you'd rather have like a really sweet console, especially for a lot of installations, stuff like that, then an NX1 could be perfect. And even all three of these fully loaded, an NX1, P, and K, I'm going to just look it up super quick. Okay, so fully loaded, the NX1 with the NXP and the NXK, so that's 20 motorized faders, plus the keypad, 8 encoder wheels. The NX1 as well has, on the back, let's walk through this super quick, it has an HDMI output. You can add a touchscreen. So you can literally have, for less than the cost of an NX2, which, you know, for years has not been the best value for a lot of people. Like the NX4 gets you a lot more with the motorized faders. For less than the cost of an NX2, you could build out with a monitor, especially for installations, a killer 8-universe rig with an NX1. Now you get less universes, so again, it comes down to what you do, the kind of events you work with, and what output you need. But, you know, these are just awesome because they have power in and through, lots of USB. So the NXP will need power. The NXK is powered off of USB. And you could just stack these together side by side and build your console. And so these guys get me excited, the NX1, P, and K, as we get into our next segment about what to buy, because they're a slamming deal. If you don't need a lot of universes for output, or you're good networking in with a PC and having the PC do an output or do the output or something like that, then, you know, these are just a killer deal. Because again, less than the cost of this NX2, you get the NX1 with the NXP, with the NXK, all of that stuff for less than the cost of the NX2. Let me just double check that super quick. All right, yeah, just verified that the NX2 is actually $1,600, or the NX2, yeah, is $1,600 more than a fully loaded NX1 plus NXP plus NXK. So if you don't need a ton of universes and you want to have 20 motorized faders, 20 main playback buttons, full programming section, 8 encoder wheels, and on the NX1 you can add that touchscreen out the back. So you have one built in, a small one, it's like a 10-inch, but you can have a full, 24-inch in front of the console for a full, as you're looking at the stage, full touchscreen. And you can get out the door for less than the cost of an NX2 on this guy. So we're diving into the next section. Going to talk about my recommendations, but keep in mind as we do that, for a lot of folks, if you don't foresee yourself needing more than 8 universes for a lot of the events you do, or you don't see yourself needing that often, then the NX1, NXP, and NXK is a killer, an amazing combination that can really help you, not only save money, and of course, hit us up at learnstagelightinggear.com. We are your ONYX experts, and we want to get you a personalized quote on the new stuff or any ONYX hardware. We want to be your ONYX dealer. And let's dive in, talk about the rest of the range and where they fit in, remembering that I shot the rest of this video before the NX1 came out, so I'm not factoring that in. But again, if you need recommendations, hit us up, Learn Stage Lighting Gear. We'll see you there.
So what do you buy? What are the best choices for ONYX buying? Okay, so, it's obviously, this is a question that is a case-by-case basis. If you're looking to get started with ONYX, I really do recommend, I would say, either go with an EP4 right here or an NX Touch, okay? I skip over the NX DMX because the EP4 gives you 4 ports of output and 4 universes, whereas the NX DMX only gives you 2 outputs. Granted, the NX DMX is a little more plug and play, but if you need the 4 outputs, I recommend the EP4. If you only need 1 output of DMX, I would jump up from the NX DMX to the NX Touch. Because you get that MIDI, that timecode, that OSC. You can have remote programs trigger ONYX, which a lot of entry-level people are doing. Okay, if you don't want the touch, the essential key is the same cost. It just doesn't have a DMX output on it. Okay, so that unlocks those playback functionalities, gives you 8 universes of DMX, and allows you to output that over networked DMX. But you'll need a node, okay, or just a device that takes network DMX directly. All right. The best values, arguably in my mind, on the ONYX line are the NX Wing and the NX4. Okay. The NX2 is a good console. We've got nothing wrong with it. But the Wing, this is a little secret here. I hate to be that guy because I work with the team. But with the Wing and a PC, you get pretty much everything that the NX2 has. Of course, the NX2 is a standalone console. There's no PC. In a rental type environment, that's a lot better. But if you're a band, a church, whatever, and you don't mind setting up a laptop or a PC, just keeping it offline, setting up your show computer well, we'll link to an article below called How to Set Up Your Show Computer from Learn Stage Lighting. We walk through that. But today, gosh, especially Windows 11 with how the update structure's changed, it's easier than ever to set up a show computer and not have it go into auto updates or anything like that. So the Wing is a killer value. And then from there, I like to go straight to the NX4. If you need a standalone console, again, rental market, the NX2 is great. But the NX4 gets you so much more for not a ton more money, right? I mean, what percentage is that? 990 into 11,990. These are the map or the minimum advertised prices. So yeah, I mean, it's 35% more. So, a third more gets you a lot more functionality in the console because we're talking motorized faders, non-motorized sub faders and buttons on the side, buttons with LCDs that accompany the motorized fader. So they have those LCD labels, okay? Dedicated intensity encoder. To me, the NX4 for most setups, most rigs, installation, whatever, I would rather buy a couple less moving lights and get this console because you get so much more in terms of playback functionality, physical, surface over the NX2. The NX2 is a great console, no doubt. And if you're coming from, another console on the market that has 10 faders and you're used to that, and you truly don't need any more than that, or you just value the compact footprint, then the NX2 is great. They both have cases. The cases are kind of cool because the 2 is just a briefcase type case. But this is key. The top comes off. So you can put it on the desk. You can take the top fully off. The NX4, just to walk you through where's the case for that, is a rolling case. It has skateboard type wheels on it. And then it opens hinged. However, they're the type of hinge where when it's up, you can pull the lid off, okay? So that means you can always leave the console in the case if you want, and then be able to just pull that hinge off and be able to good to go. The other thing I like about the NX4 is when you compare it to other consoles in that range, it costs as much as a lot of the other consoles brands, 10 fader consoles, okay? Not all of them. But you get the motorized faders, you get those extra faders on the side, and what I like is it's ergonomic. Okay, you fold the screen down, you've got handles, one guy, you yourself, can put this console into the case, can lift up the case with the console onto a table, no problem. Especially the console without the case. With the case, it can be done as well, though. It's not too bad. And I don't think there's many other consoles on the market that have this many playbacks that have motorized faders and can be lifted by yourself quite easily onto the desk. And I think that's a big selling point, not to be, the software is probably more important, but, that's a really stinking good point. So, if you guys are interested in any of this stuff that we've talked about, We want to help you be able to get that gear. So if you've been following our ONYX videos and now you've watched this buyer's guide and you're in the US, let us get a personalized price for you. Head over to Learn Stage Lighting Gear. Look at anything we've got here. We've got lights, we've got all the stuff. Add it to your quote. If there's anything you don't see, once you add it to your quote, there's a spot where you're going to fill out your address and you're going to tell us if you need anything else. We'll add it to the quote. We'll get you a personalized price. We'll send it to you. Okay. If you have any questions about the gear, about what it does, if it can do this, if it can do that, let us know in this form. Submit that quote, and then we will see you guys over on the gear website and be able, as a dealer, to get you these consoles or whatever else you're looking for. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you on the site. Bye.